Welcome to McDougall. Did you know that the most important foundation for your life happened in your mother's arms? Hello, I'm Wayne Judd. And now your gastronomical guru, Dr. John. How are you?
Good to see you. Is that gastronomical, like in terms of gas?
Yes.
I know a lot about gas. As a matter of fact, the only criticism...
You've had experience, I assume.
The only criticism you can launch against a healthy diet, a starch-based diet with vegetables, fruits, and beans, is gas.
Yes, I can vouch for that.
So I think it needs to be addressed, even though it is a very sensitive issue.
Okay, please.
On this kind of diet, you do have more gas, no question about it. And for a very simple reason, there are carbohydrates that are not easily digested. And as a result, what happens is they move from the small intestine into the large intestine. And in the large intestine, bacteria turn them into gases. And this is troublesome for a lot of people. And what we have to do is we have to deal with it, know what to do about it, recognize it. And there are things you can do.
Now, is that bacteria supposed to be in there?
Yeah, it's just normal ball bacteria.
We've all got that.
But what you have is, there's certain foods that are particularly notorious for causing gas, and you know what those are.
Yes, beans, lentils, those are the ones I like.
Beans, peas, and lentils. And whether they're hot dogs and beans or ham and beans doesn't make any difference. They still cause gas because they have two sugars that are poorly digested.
Right. Cheese, doesn't cheese do that? Well, we don't eat cheese anymore.
Yes, cheese doesn't do as bad as milk products in general, because here, again, they have a sugar that's not digested well, and that sugar is called lactose. Cheese is low in lactose, but yogurt or skim milk or regular dairy products, milk, ice cream, and so on, has a lot of lactose. And so many people, particularly non-Caucasian, non-white people, get lots of gas from dairy products. But
I won't ask you why it discriminates, but sounds a little
it
discriminatory.
probably has to do with exposure. In other words, the white population has been exposed to dairy products through, centuries. And as a result, whereas the Hispanics, blacks, Asians have not had that exposure, and so as a result they have not adapted to the dairy, and the adaptation would be keeping an enzyme that's designed for digesting milk called lactase, which everybody has when they're a little baby. Lactase digests lactose, and of course you're supposed to be digesting the milk of mother's milk.
Yes.
But as far as this gas issue, which I know you want to solve,
let's get a solution.
First of all,
pills,
there's adjustment that takes place, and that makes a big difference. If you just give it a little time when you change your diet, what happens is your bowel bacteria change, and as a consequence, you're able to digest more of those carbohydrates, and of course you make much less gas.
So don't give up if it's a little tough at first.
The second thing you can do, and nobody's going to discuss this with you, this is a very sensitive subject.
All right.
The second thing you can do is you can give up the beans, peas, and lentils. You don't need them for any reason. I mean, they are high in protein, but you get plenty of protein from rice, potatoes, corn, fruits, and vegetables. So you don't have to have the beans, peas, and lentils in. So if you don't tolerate them, then just leave them out.
And you're still going to have a good diet.
Oh, very healthy diet. You get all the protein you need in rice. You don't have to worry about it. The next thing that you can do is you can cook these beans, peas, and lentils and all your other vegetable foods very thoroughly, because what you do then is you end up breaking down these sugars so they're much more easily digested by thorough cooking.
Don't you ruin something good in the...
No, not necessarily. No, you still have plenty of nutrients. Nature was so kind, she just loaded your foods with nutrients, so even thorough cooking is not a big issue as long as you plan your diet around vegetable foods.
So I don't have to worry that I'm losing something if my food isn't raw.
Well, nothing that is going to make a difference as far as your health is concerned.
Oh, that's great.
You can make arguments for it, but none of them really hold up when it comes to the bottom line, which is just enjoying good health. Now, have you ever heard of people who say that what you do for gas is you soak the beans and then throw the water out?
Yes.
Okay.
I've heard that.
What soaking does is that it starts the cooking process. In other words, it starts the breaking down process. And so after you've soaked, you need to cook less. And so soaking just starts the digestion of those carbohydrates.
I see.
Yeah. Now, there's a product on the market that you can buy that helps with the gas. You go into the drugstore, the food store, grocery store, and it's called Beano.
Yes.
You've heard of Beano.
I know
it comes
about
in
Beano.
liquid, and it also comes in little tablets. And you have to start your meal with these substances.
You eat with your first bite.
What they do is they supply the enzymes that'll break down those sugars that your intestinal tract can't break down.
But I can tell you that you might use that if you're early on in a diet change, and it may not work as much as you think it should.
It is certainly, the response to Beano certainly varies with people.
Yes.
And the next thing you can do is you can use activated charcoal. That sometimes helps. But what I want to point out to you, What I wanted to point out to you, Wayne, is that gas is natural and normal. This is really not something abnormal.
You mean even beautiful people have gas?
Beautiful. Do you ever ride a horse?
I never thought of beautiful people as
Did you ever
having
ride a
gas.
horse?
Yes, I've ridden a horse.
Okay, then you know gas is natural. And the one advantage of this kind of gas, Wayne, is that
I lost you on that. I'm hearing.
Well, the audience didn't lose
You mean
me.
the
horse is very gassy.
the horses do that? Yes.
it's very
Okay.
gassy.
I just wanted to make
The
sure.
advantage of this time of gas is it's a lot less malodorous. So
Oh.
you think about
Oh,
that. You think
that's
about that
nice.
for a while while we're getting ready for
So you can be
our next,
impolite and no one will know. I see.
our next segment. It's an advantage to eat a healthy diet. We're going to talk about eating a healthy diet all the way from birth. We're going to talk about breastfeeding in our next segment, an extremely important subject.
Sounds great.
We'll be back with you in just a moment.
We learned English.
Your kids can too. Just watch Hello Channel.
I have a lot of action. And welcome back to the show. This is a subject that I hate to use the word passionate about, but I am passionate about it, and that is feeding of the young children, breastfeeding specifically. With us is Hope Colt Maddie. She is a leader in the La Leche League, and just knowing where you come from, I have to realize you support it.
Very much so.
Are you a mother also?
Yes, I have 2 children, and they're 12 years old and 9 years old, and no longer nursing, but
They were nursed.
they did at one
Okay,
time.
all right.
Yes.
Now, a lot of mothers are offended by this subject. They don't like the militant aggressiveness that La Leche leaders have and counselors have. But I want to tell you, I don't care. I think it's absolutely essential that you do the work you do. And if you hurt their feelings, tough. They've got to learn this very important subject. And you tell us why it's important to breastfeed.
Well, I can give you the top 5 reasons why I think it's important to breastfeed. First of all, breast milk is tailor-made to each individual baby's needs. And
So let's stop with that for a minute.
okay.
That means when they're premature, the breast milk
That's
is different.
right. Yes.
And when they're 1 month old, it's different than when they're 6 months old, and
Exactly.
so it adjusts to the needs of the
Yes.
baby. And also, and I hate to put words in your mouth, but it also changes with the ambient temperature of the room and how much water the baby
That's right.
needs. It takes care of everything.
It changes from day to night. Mothers in the morning have richer milk because they've had a good night's sleep, hopefully. And towards dinner time, it waters down. This gives the baby cues on when to wake up and when to go to sleep. So it
Varies.
changes
And if the
over
baby
time.
sweats a lot and needs more water as opposed to milk, it makes that variation too?
That's right.
Smart.
Yes.
Number 2.
Okay, it's cheap. Dads like that one.
Yeah.
And if you breastfeed a baby for 6 months with no supplements, you can expect to save approximately the cost of a major household appliance,
Wow.
which can be like $1,000 or more.
You're really hitting below the
And-
belt when you talk about the money aspect.
And that's just with the formula costs.
Okay.
If if you breastfeed, then babies have less illness and less need to see the pediatrician.
But that's cheap, that's 2. Let's go on to 3.
Okay.
Is it 3 illness?
3 would be sleep, because that's a really important thing to most moms. And in particular, I hear from women who are working outside of the home and breastfeed that they get more sleep if they breastfeed, because if the baby's sleeping in their room, they don't have to get up and go out and fix a bottle, and the baby wakes up completely.
So you don't have to take the
know.
time preparing the bottle either.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. And
So everybody rests better.
That's right. Everybody.
And you know, one of the
Dad,
things that really
everybody.
bugs me is when I'm on an airplane or I'm in some building and I have this crying infant there, and I just know that if this was a breastfed infant, that the mother would be able to establish a relationship that would keep the child comforted and quieted. And
Yeah.
I feel like going up and shaking her, but I know it wouldn't do any good.
Okay.
All right.
Finally, health in general. Breastfed babies have fewer illnesses and things like that.
Can you be a little more specific about that? How
well,
much fewer?
I tell you that one of the major ones is that they have fewer allergies.
They have
you
fewer
know,
allergies.
which you were talking
It's been
about
associated with asthma,
before.
obesity,
That's
and yes,
And-
multiple sclerosis, even though that's very
right.
controversial. And I'll tell you a figure that I love. Is bottle-fed babies have 3 times the risk of hospitalization and major illness during the first year of life. You ever heard that?
Yes, I have.
Now that would shock any mother, wouldn't it?
That certainly would.
You know, you got this new baby in the home. You're worried every time they cry, and somebody presents you with the fact that the baby has 3 times the chance of going to the hospital or being very ill if you bottle feed the kid.
That's right.
Hope, can every mother breastfeed? And what if they can't?
you know,
I mean, are we making people feel guilty by making such a big case for
really,
that? I hope so.
That's a really good.
Well, John,
I tell you, if they would allow me, I would be a member of the league.
this is a cause for you, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, that's a good question because it's a question that we get asked frequently. Yes, every woman can breastfeed. Every healthy woman can breastfeed. As a matter of fact, if you look in third world countries where women are emaciated and you know, malnourished,
They still breastfeed.
They can still, and they have a chubby little breastfeeding baby on their lap. There are women who have problems nursing. Sometimes if a woman has had breast surgery or something like that, or certain forms of illness, cancer, there might be some challenges. But I've known women who've breastfed through you know, they've been told by everybody they wouldn't be able to.
Isn't it true that you can even breastfeed if you've never had a baby?
That's exactly true. Many adoptive mothers have chosen
Decided
to
to breastfeed.
try and to nurse and have been successful.
Are we at 3 or 4 yet?
I think we're still at 4. One thing I did want to mention along with health is that jaw and facial development is so much more enhanced by breastfeeding, that earlier speech and better speech is enhanced.
Is that right? That's amazing.
Well, babies use totally different facial movements and jaw muscles in order to breastfeed rather
when
than
they have
bottle
a bottle.
feeding. Yeah, they don't basically use very few when they're bottle feeding. And breastfeeding babies also develop these chubby breastfeeding cheeks, so they're cuter too.
That's a great argument.
Number 5.
Probably the most important reason for me, even if all the health reasons were not there, it's the closeness. And it's beginning a lifelong communication with your baby of, I'm going to help you with your needs. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to respond to you. I'm going to hold you close to me. And my children are now 9 and 12, and I feel that that was the foundation of my relationship with them.
But you know, a lot of people argue about that. A lot of people say that it's just as nice a relationship to have this bottle as opposed to the breast. And what I say to those people is, you try curling up at night with a rubber nipple and a glass bottle, and you see how much more fun it is.
Yeah, and
it's a big difference, isn't it?
Yes,
Cold glass bottle.
breastfeeding is a tool you can use. You can choose to use or you can choose not to use. It's something that helps make mothering, parenting easier.
Yes. And we're going to talk about why it gets sabotaged, because it's not the woman's fault. It's money.
I thought you were going to say men. who
No,
don't
we're going
want
to talk
share.
about the fault. We're going to also talk about some of the other problems associated with bottle feeding as opposed to breastfeeding, and we'll be back in a moment.
Hello, I'm Nastasia, and I'd like to introduce you to Hello Channel, the innovative new way to learn English as a second language. If you can learn English, your opportunities expand. Knowing English allows you greater job options, more money, and a better lifestyle. Here's the best part. Learning English is now easy because Hello Channel brings it right to your home. Come join our classroom, enjoy great entertainment, and improve your vocabulary, all while you watch TV. A brighter future is ahead if you'll just say hello.
Welcome back. We have Hope Colt-Meddy with us. She's a leader from La Leche League. We're talking about a subject you can tell I care a lot about. I'll tell you, one of the things is I was breastfed for 3 weeks. And what really hurt my feelings was when I read an article a couple of years ago in The Lancet that said that my IQ was off by 9 points because I wasn't breastfed longer. You know, I could have been up there with Donahue or Oprah if I'd have been breastfed a little bit longer. Also, last year there was an article that showed children who were bottle fed had twice the chance of having brain damage, brain problems. And you also have problems of colic. Now, I'm going to hit people with one that always gets emotional reactions, and I'm sorry if you don't like it. But the data shows that if you bottle feed a child, the risk of crib death, SIDS, is increased 2 to 4 times over a breastfed baby. Now, it doesn't mean all cases of SIDS are caused by bottle feeding.
Right.
It just, What a simple help to reduce this problem.
Part of the reason they believe that that is because a baby sucks differently at the breast, breastfeeding helps regulate breathing and causes the baby to want to intake air and exhale. Also, they're close to the mother a lot, so they hear the mother breathing.
And also the position, but I think one of the more interesting explanations is the cow's milk is inhaled. It goes into the stomach,
right.
It is regurgitated and inhaled by the child and causes an immunologic reaction, an anaphylactic reaction, which kills the child, which is one of the more interesting theories. But regardless, the data is there, and study after study after study, bottle-fed babies have an increased risk. If mothers knew this, but they don't stand a chance. What happens when you have a baby in the hospital?
Well, that can be a difficult situation. What happens is many times there's a lot of separation, and in order for breastfeeding to get off to the best start, you need to have a lot of togetherness between the mom and the baby. And sometimes if a baby develops jaundice, which is normal physiological jaundice, many times physicians feel that babies need to have a break from the breast, and it's not like, you know, putting a bottle back and forth. It's hard to get the baby back.
With the doctors, and I'd have to say the nurses, even though most of them are women, there's a problem there. But what do you get as a special prize when you go home?
You get a nice bag full of formula.
Oh, yes, you get a bag full of formula. So you can do the modern thing. You can bottle feed your baby, provided by the drug company.
When you tell them that you're not going to bottle feed, they will not give you the formula.
That's kind of them.
What is the father's role in breastfeeding? Does dad just sort of watch, or can dad help in this process?
Oh, dad's extremely important. He's, you know, sometimes babies don't just need to breastfeed. They, you know, mom has tried the breast, the diaper, the everything, but dad can walk the baby around. Dad helps in many ways. Dad supports the mom, and that's very important.
And dad is much happier because the baby is quieter and happier. Colic, which is a problem of babies, has been shown to be reduced dramatically in breastfed babies. And an important thing is that breastfed babies need to be fed with clean breast milk. And so one of the things they found is what the mother eats, and particularly the mother consuming dairy products, cow's milk, will induce colic in breastfed babies.
Very interesting.
Yeah, a baby is never allergic to breast milk because that would be, you know, illogical in nature. But a baby can be allergic to things that the mother intakes, and cow's milk is the #1.
Now, there's an 800 number for La Leche, so I'd like you to get your pencils ready because the people at La Leche will come out and help. I mean, your interest is in purely one of making this natural process take place. And lots of women have lots of problems and very little support in our society, and I just can't tell you how much I applaud you.
Thank you.
The 800 number is 1-800-LALECHE. That's L-A-L-E-C-H-E, or let me give you the numbers. It's 1-800-525-3243, 525-3243. If you know anybody who's having problems, you know, a friend, a relative, or if you're a nurse and you happen to be working in the delivery room, you know, what an opportunity to pass this information out so the Leche people can come by.
Thank you very much for having this show and for informing the public about this important issue.
Oh, well, they need to know. We need to have more and more shows about this. You got to get it off to a good start in life, don't you think? Absolutely. Can they reach you through that 800 number also?
Yes, they can get in contact with a La Leche League leader in their area.
Now, I want to introduce you to the mother of my 3 breastfed children, Mary McDougall, and she's going to show us how to do a little bit of cooking for children. How's that?
Great.
All right. Join us after this commercial break. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Javier. I'm from Spain. I learned English. So can you. Watch Hello Channel.
And welcome back. I'd like to introduce you to Mary McDougall. That's right, Mary's my wife, and we've been together 23 years.
Yes.
Yes. That's 23 years of my life. Wayne, were you breastfed?
I was breastfed. That's why I don't talk too good. I was too busy. No, I probably was breastfed. I would say probably, I was thinking something like 6 years. We were very poor, but it certainly helped my intelligence,
I can
John.
tell you, that's why you're smarter than I am.
There we go.
No question about that. Mary, you brought with us some snacks and quick foods that you can feed to kids.
Yes.
All right, why don't we start over on this side?
Well, people are always worried about what kind of healthy things they can have in the house for children, and it's really important that you have good things in the house. There are pretzels.
Can I munch,
You may
Mary?
try a pretzel. And
Well, let's start
fat-free
way over there
way
at the
over there.
fruits.
The fruits are good.
You didn't bring those, though,
I
but
didn't
that's
bring
really
those,
what,
yes.
we have those at the center.
We have those on the center of our counter, yes. There's some fat-free Crunchums. There's fat-free potato chips. You may try all of those.
These look like this. They're little capsules. Go nice with pretzels.
They go nice. Now
Okay.
try a potato chip.
Oh, potato chip.
They're very good potato chips.
And these are fat-free.
Fat-free, right?
How much
And-
salt? Not too much salt?
Not too much salt.
And the motto
Oh,
that you
that's
can't just
wonderful.
eat just one, it doesn't matter. With those, you can eat as much as
You
you
can eat
want.
as many as you want.
Yes.
This is very potato-y. It's the potato-iest
Yes.
potato chip I've ever eaten. Congratulations.
Then there are cereal bars. They can just pop into the toaster, or you can eat them just like they are, right out of the box. There are juice that you put in the freezer, and they're like little popsicles for
Cool
the kids, but
fruits.
they're made out of pure juice. And then there are all of these fat-free, meat-free treats.
These are my kids' favorite.
Like this one has
Your children like
happens to
these?
be Canadian
Yes, they're
veggie
my
bacon.
favorite.
There's
All
a
of those.
a veggie pepperoni. That's
Well, they
that's
love
a
the
good one. Yes,
pepperoni.
the pepperoni is really good. And how about the no fat, no meat hot dogs? These are
right.
wild
Well,
dogs.
some of them I tolerate better than others.
I
You
know.
don't just feed them to the kids.
No, I feed them to you too.
Mary, do your kids eat this stuff, or did they?
Yes, this burger right here. My 12-year-old son used to take this to school in his lunch every day, put it in the microwave, and
great.
he'd have that for lunch.
Good.
So there are all kinds of things that are available for children. This is another one of my son's favorite fast lunches. This is
Very good.
chicken-free noodles that you just put hot water in, and in 5 minutes they're ready to eat.
And how do you make the smoothie?
The smoothie is one of the easiest things to do, and everybody likes smoothies. You take a banana, some frozen strawberries, a little water or fruit juice, put it in a blender, and you have an absolutely delicious drink.
Kind of help wash down the
Yes.
pretzels.
You may
thank
try
you.
that.
Cheers.
Good try. Lots of good things. They never have to go hungry. They have these things around the house, and there's always
Delicious.
something available. And I suppose if you have them leave the house stuffed, then they have less
It's
chance
easier,
of more
yes,
junk
yes.
food, don't they?
That's right.
That's right. So, Hope, I want to thank you very much for being with
Thank
us.
you.
You're an inspiration for women out there who would really like to have the chance to breastfeed. And Mary, I want to thank you very much for taking us into the next stage of life.
That's right.
Yes, and help us with the kids. And I want to thank you very much for listening. Goodbye, and we'll see you next time.